Good morning, everybody. Today is March 24th, and this is episode 687 of the Daily AI Show. With me in the studio today is Andy Halliday and Ann Murphy. I am Beth Lyons. We'll see who pops in the door throughout the show. You'll know when we do, and that is just delightful. How is everybody doing? Good? Excited?
Us on here.
All right.
I can account for myself. I'm pretty good.
Cool. Andy, what did you bring for us today?
Well, let's lead off with Jensen Huang saying on the Lex Friedman podcast that we've achieved AGI.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he didn't really say that. He responded to a very narrow question, which was, when do you think we'll get to an AGI like something that could build, start, grow, and run a tech company that could reach a value of $1 billion, which is a very narrow use case of human intelligence, right? So in response to that, he said, well, I think it's now. I think we've achieved AGI, if that's your definition of it. So he's not really saying that there is broad, general application of intelligence. One of the things that followed on that headline that's being reported by people was he said, look, an AI couldn't build NVIDIA with its tens of thousands of people and all of it. It's not going to be able to manage that. And so he's saying, at least I, Jensen Huang, am smarter than average general intelligence or artificial general intelligence. So anyway, if you take a specific transactional benchmark, I think you could also make a claim that we've achieved super intelligence in certain domains. Witness, the ability of the DeepMind platforms that end in Go being able to advance science well beyond what cadres of scientists have been able to achieve to date. So artificial general intelligence is happening in narrow things, but that defies the G in AGI, which is general intelligence.
So it's very much not general, right? It is specific.
It's being walked back in many ways, although it's an exciting thing to wonder when it is that, a frontier model or some combination, a hybrid model probably that retains sort of grounding in physics and world model and all of the causality that we understand from the earliest stages in the development of our own intelligence. We're not that far away from having systems that will be able to be like a little human that is on its way up to expertise and maturity.
And we're seeing with the newer model releases, sometimes they're a group of experts, right? So the AGI, little AGI, may be the general in that, may be looking at, I know who to pass the question to of the ASIs around me. All right, Brian's here. Hey, Brian, welcome.
Hey, what's going on?
It's a Tuesday in AI world, so not much, but also.
Yeah, I was just saying in the private chat that I know the show's at 10. I don't think I've ever really been late for a show before, but I was deep into Claude Code world, and I was passionately telling Claude Code where it had failed me and where it needed to get better. And it was very passionate and thought provoking. And I looked at the clock and I thought, 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
Yeah. I'm definitely supposed to be somewhere. So I apologize, but also that means that I feel a little less prepared. So I will happily listen to what you guys have to share as far as the news and stuff like that, and then see if I can catch a couple here to share along the way.
All right. Anne, do you have a story you want to say? Yeah.
Well, I I love to bring my gumshoe reporting to the Daily AI show. And so I'll share there's a news item attached to it, but that just is to justify my talking about a technology in the nonprofit sector. So last week I was in Detroit or the week before at the nonprofit technological conference, NTC, in Detroit this year, next year in Portland. And, I've been to, handfuls of conferences in different kind of segments of, business and nonprofit. And I always have this pushback when people talk about how the nonprofit sector is so far behind and with everything, but also with AI. And I just want to share that I don't think at all that the nonprofit sector is behind. And I also believe that we're more likely to see some kind of hockey stick level of AI adoption trends, because it's much like women adopting AI, where there's less of like an abject trust in technology from the nonprofit sector for whole bunches of reasons. And now the conversations are extremely thoughtful, particularly because there are a lot of advocacy organizations within the nonprofit sector, right? Or adjacent to the nonprofit sector. And so there's a lot, very thoughtful work being done in privacy and security for obvious reasons with advocacy groups. But there is just I just want to hear on the Daily AI show, just debunk this thing that we love to say about the nonprofit sector. I have clients in nonprofit, I have clients in the private sector. I've always said, like, everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time, people. This is a very human, right? This is existential. This is a big deal for all of us. And we all have hopes and dreams and fears that are very common human experiences. I think that's all. There's newsy items that come out of the nonprofit sector and AI, but I think, including the fact that I will be launching a wealth screening and prospect research platform. I'm pitching it to my client this week. Rachel Zipsey and I are building it, and it will do everything that the wealth screening companies do. We will have APIs to them, and it will also have a trust layer put onto it so that we don't take the grossest of most biased information into our calculations of which donors we should work with. Those are my news from the nonprofit sector and AI. It's happening. I don't want to be a tech founder, but I know what my clients are about to buy. We can do it better. So we're going to do it better, and we're going to see what happens. They'll be our design partners. And I guess as of like tomorrow, I guess I'm a tech founder, everybody. That's my news. That's my news. We're launching a platform. Very little fanfare. We decided last night. And so here we are today. I'm a founder.
Is there a, obviously everybody knows the term tech bro. Is that gender neutral? I wouldn't think so.
Gender neutral.
Is it really? Tech bro is gender neutral?
I think I'm becoming a tech bro.
Okay.
No.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask you. I was like, do you have another term that you're going to call yourself now?
Yeah, no, tech bro.
You're
I think it's official.
Tech bro-ish.
Yeah, I think I'm a tech bro. I'm also for sure a mansplainer. But I guess in terms of case studies, right? A case study, the only reason why I have this like insane unfair advantage is because I've been in this field for 33 years.
Right. Yeah.
I can launch an app better than a tech bro who saw a white space and went in there, or tech. It doesn't matter. Anyone who goes into a vertical without that background, the people who have that background are at a very serious advantage. The people who come in without that background, their products aren't going to work as well. So it's back to that point of, it is so all about us. That's what's going to make this successful.
Yeah. I mean, my wife.
And I have a question for you.
Let's hear it.
In looking at the various nonprofits that you've dealt with across the past several years, what are the baby steps with AI that most nonprofits that are doing something with AI have already taken? I can understand you're building something that's much more sophisticated, that's going to address the fundraising pipeline for a nonprofit, but nonprofits also have operations, and they
Yep.
also have, okay, so what are they doing actually already?
Well, much like the folks in SMBs, they think that the most interesting thing is generating content, generating whatever with AI. Just, use AI to write a better email. Like that's where so many people are, and moving into the strategy, thinking better. Like the group that we're launching a campaign, and that group is like fully, working with personas and doing that prediction, overcoming objections, that kind of work. But I would say, Andy, most people I work with, we start at, this is how you work with ChatGPT. They're really, I would say the average worker bee, it's still ChatGPT.
100%.
It's understanding the AI that's already in the apps, because of course, like all those are going on steroids, right? Not knowing. So it's learning, it's basic education, again, just like everybody else. But yeah, generation and some analysis of like board meeting notes, but even that everybody gets really nervous about. And so those are, not very sophisticated. Oh, other than like the kind of platform I'm building, there's a lot more in there.
Excellent.
Yeah, I often find that it's like, and it's, we're capable of building some pretty complex systems, but ultimately it does kind of come back to, where that end user is and what their knowledge base is, because, most people still think of ChatGPT is probably a text completion tool, although we would say it's much more than that. Gemini, even definitely more than that. And Claude is now in a weird area of, if you say Claude, you're like, code, co-work, Claude, which one? API, which one are you using and how are you using it? So like I hear you, because like I do think it's gotten a lot more complex, but for most of the people I still deal with, I was just on with a marketing and onboarding and enablement team the other day for a client on different calls, and they're like, yeah, I still take my initial ebook draft and I throw it through ChatGPT and I see what it can tell me, and I said, well, what's the process for that? And they're like, I have an ebook, and then I take it and I put it through ChatGPT, and I'm like, but what's the repeatable process? What's the, as Rachel would say, what is the playbook? What's the operations of this?
Right.
And that's where it falls apart. It's like everything, usually, at least for me, I find, I think Karl is pretty much the same thing as like one-offs, even if they know how to use it right. And like, I would imagine if you're talking to nonprofits and stuff, you're like, oh, that's correct how you used it. How do you do that 20 times in a row? And they're like,
that's what
I guess
they
I would
don't
just
have.
start at the beginning.
Yep.
And you're like, oh my God, no, don't, no, no,
Yeah. I mean, we've been trained to click around to find and do everything, to click. So it's very natural to think, I did this once. Now, how do I do it again? I click a whole bunch of buttons again.
Yeah.
It's a habit. It's actually like a muscle memory habit that I personally am trying to avoid. My hand goes to my mouse and starts moving around all my tabs, when in fact I should just be talking to Cloud Code.
Yeah.
Like, or for the things that I'm doing, I can just start to Cloud Code. So I think that there's a bigger obstacle than we would imagine, which is like the muscle memory of doing things the really old, really annoying way. Sometimes annoying is safe. Annoying is familiar. Annoying is a vacation from your real life. We're used to being annoyed by work.
And we had a conversation about this weekend, and in terms of the choices that people are making are sometimes to just not confront the anxiety of what it means that I did this way, right? So there are those kinds of pieces too. I think this brings us in very delightfully to what Claude and Anthropic dropped yesterday, or perhaps this morning, computer use, so that Claude can now operate your computer the way that a human can. And one of the reasons that I think that is important and helpful, outside of the fact that I spend ridiculous amounts of time downloading StreamYard videos and then deleting them so we can be recorded when we do the stream. But the other piece of that is that what Claude does, Claude can give recommendation based on. It's now having in the experience. So what is the thing that what are the parts now that it has gone through that process that should be looked at differently, can be automated differently? Are there steps that I'm taking that are no longer useful? Right? And one of those in this context with Claude Code is if you're clicking around and doing something, ask if there is an API that you're missing or some sort of connector integration that you could use that would make it not Claude running your browser so that it could happen. StreamYard, we would really love an API.
We've been saying that
Yes,
for what,
StreamYard.
years?
Hello. Jeez,
Years?
come on
We've been asking
now.
for that? I know.
What do I have to
Please.
do to get an API key from StreamYard? How do they get to gatekeep that? How is that a thing?
And especially when they up their prices as much as they
Nope,
did.
that's what I'm saying.
Neither here nor there. But yeah, they didn't get cheaper. So when you get more expensive, you should maybe throw an API so we can move the data around like we need to. Yeah, it seems very odd to me. If you're not going to build it internally, why gatekeep it?
Also, maybe export on the library screen, not the media screen. No reason I have to go to media to get all of the export files, please.
Yeah. Hey,
So-
I just want to throw in real quick, just because I just thought of a news story from yesterday I didn't get to. When Anne, you said health screening, it triggered my brain. Did you guys already? We didn't talk about it yesterday, unless you did in the first 2 minutes of the show today. Perplexity came out with their version of health.
No.
Yeah, so that was a story I actually had up yesterday. I don't know if I kept it up or not. And yes, I did. Look at me thinking ahead.
Look
Good
at
job, Brian.
you.
Good job, Brian. I didn't close the one tab I actually needed for today. Fantastic. That never happened. Introducing Perplexity Health. Then they give you a whole bunch of every day, millions of people, blah, blah, blah. Perplexity is the best place to search for this kind of knowledge. Today, we're launching Perplexity Health, a suite of connectors to your personal health data that allows for powerful personal use of Perplexity Computer, providing accurate health information for the most important questions. Now, we have seen, I've used it, actually really like it. I've used ChatGPT Health. I realize that's not everybody's thing. They don't want to do that, maybe, but in the state of Florida, it's getting at least easier and easier. I don't know. I say Florida because I don't know if it's a state thing or a national thing, but it is getting easier and easier for the different places I go to. If I go to, I'll often, like if I have a cold or something, I'm not going to drive to my main primary care. I'm going to just go to CVS, right? Because it's easier. And I know I can get whatever it is. I'm fairly certain it's a cold and let's move on, right? Not a cold, but you know what I mean? Something you would need med for or something like that. Well, now it's getting easier and easier for my primary to go, yeah, no, I see that was given to you at CVS. That was shared through this network, right? And I'm like, yes, thank you, because I hate going into doctors. I just told this story on LinkedIn the other day about how I've been suffering with an ENT doctor specialist. Come to find out, it's freaking caffeine that makes my ear go swollen, so I can't hear it in my rear. Caffeine causes my right ear to swell up, so I can't hear. You know who figured that out? ChatGPT figured that out. Who
the
didn't
youngest
figure that out?
person on the call is
ENT.
getting old.
Oh yeah, no, I'm firmly in the 48. Yeah, at this point, I feel it with this these kind of weirdo things that happen. Anyway, that's a side note to say ChatGPT Health figured that out. Not my ENT, after spending God knows hundreds of dollars getting all sorts of tests. ChatGPT figured out. The reason why I think this story, getting back to the story of Perplexity, I think is important is because, well, Perplexity actually is, I think, the right tool for this. It's where Perplexity actually shines. And when you layer on what they did with Computer, I was just talking, we were demoing it on Friday, Andy, right? We were having a demo day. And we were just talking about, hey, what can Perplexity Computer do? And I did some things with colleges. But you know what I would really love to do? I would love to get a little nerdy about my health. I would love to be able to instantly pull in stuff. I would love to know that I have the power of Perplexity behind the research, because that's basically what I did with ChatGPT to understand better about what was going on with my ear, because I would have never, ever connected caffeine and middle ear inflammation as two things that go together, but they do apparently very, very well. I just didn't know these things, right? So I've been off caffeine for like a week, and lo and behold, I can hear. It's just crazy. So I like this idea. I don't know, Andy, you're kind of I know a Perplexity, fan as well. You have been. I don't know if this is like something everybody would do, because you have to, you are giving access, and there's that part of it. But I actually like this, and so I'm looking forward to seeing how it's different than what ChatGPT had, which I also like, by the way. I don't have any issues with it, but I do like the idea that I can just go run and grab my last 5 cholesterol scores, numbers, and quickly use like a Perplexity computer to track that against time and different things like that. I like to nerd out on that stuff. So I don't know what you guys think, but I was happy to see that this was something they're doing.
Yeah, I think that while I have used multiple models, including Perplexity, to do analysis of documents that come through my electronic health records through the system that I'm a party to, I haven't yet hooked up to one that's going to look exhaustively at all of the records that are there. I tend to go in, grab the most recent thing and say, hey, what's this mean for me now? And it's really, really good. Everyone should be doing that. Now, anytime you visit a doctor, there's a full report that pops up in your electronic health record. You should give that to a model and let the model know that you would like to understand this fully, but not in the technical terminology that's presented in the medical community's jargons. And it's really, really effective. So I'm interested in using Perplexity Health. I may hook it up and see what it does. Tell me how you set up, like what are the steps to set it up to connect to your health records?
For me, it was again in Florida. I don't know if this is national or not, but there is a national system, or a state system in Florida that you agree to at some point. I know I had to agree to it, and it does allow different providers to share information into that system. And so I don't remember exactly, Andy, but that's all I had to do. I want to say it was through my health provider, if I'm not mistaken, and that was the connector into the rest of it. I think, but it's been a couple.
But you had to when you started Perplexity Health, you had to you had to create a connection to your.
I haven't done Perplexity Health yet. Only ChatGPT, so I don't know.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, let's just use that as the example. Yeah. You had to connect it to your health records.
Correct.
Okay.
I had to log in.
In my case, here in Santa Cruz, California, I'm connected to 2 different health systems. And so I have 2 different platforms that don't talk to each other, right? So I would have to connect it to 2. I'm curious about whether, the setup is easy or not for users who want to play with that.
Yeah.
But it'll be helpful even if you end up just connecting to one, if you have multiple.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'll give you an example too. Every time I go, the blood work comes through now. Another one, because of the place that I can't think of the name of it, but the franchise that does blood draws, right? Like that's connected
Quest
into that.
Is generally
Quest. Quest is connected into that system. So now all my blood work goes through that. But even like, let's take a one-off one. I give blood as often as I can. Year round. I don't mind needles, and so it's a small thing I can do, right? And so I've now given, I don't know, I think I'm over 5 gallons with one blood, and they do basic screening when they get my blood, right? They're going to do basic blood pressure, but basic stuff like iron levels and stuff. It's still data, and so that's not connected into the system. So Andy, what I'm saying is the real solution here is maybe I want to connect into the system, which solves for a lot of that problem. But then I also want to give, I don't know if this is the case, but I want to give Perplexity Health the one blood information. It could be a simple CSV. That's not a problem. I can do that as an export. Hey, maybe I want to go even farther and do like a Prometheus, not from the book, but Prometheus back in the day, where you were actually looking at your sequencing from 23andMe, which I think is defunct now. And what's the other one? What's the other major one? Not 23andMe, but Ancestry. AI, which is the one I always use or whatever, and I can connect into that raw report. That starts to become really powerful, especially if I can quickly use computer and Perplexity to set up some dashboards for me that are meaningful for me or my family or whatever in there. There's really no stopping how far you could go with that into like all different paths and, all that kind of stuff. But that's great because then that makes it easier for me to have conversations. And it kind of goes back to what Anne was saying earlier in terms of like, she can do what she can do because she has 33 experience. Y'all can do what you can do because of your experience, right? So you're always going to be able to move faster in certain areas. I 100% agree with that. And that's the way I see this. I don't think the doctors always see it this way, but that's the way I see all of this going with the doctors. Yes, I'm going to walk in the door with my Perplexity Health computer report into the door of a doctor trying to be as smart as I can. That's not an affront. That shouldn't be an affront to the doctor. I don't think doctors should take that. Some do, some don't. Should take that as a personal attack that you were trying to eliminate that. Because the way I look at it is like, no. We can skip all the niceties and all the basic stuff because I'm coming in the door here. I am 4 steps down from where your typical patient is. Now that I'm here, guess what? You don't have to waste your time with all that basic stuff. I'm here. Look at what I've done. Look at what I know. Look at it. And now let's have a conversation about beyond this. And I think that's where I would love to see this go more. You get doctors that, and I get it, but I'm leaning on their expertise. What I'm trying to say, like we're all trying to say with AI is, hey, let's not waste time doing the repetition, the basic. Let's not waste time there. If I can come in the door 4 steps down, because you and I now can just have a great conversation about things going on. And I don't need you to start with, well, this is what this means. Got it. I looked that up. Unless Perplexity was wrong, I got it.
Right.
So now let's move forward here. It's like the new version of WebMD, like you back in the day, you go to WebMD and look up the thing, and like, well, and then the joke of it was like, well, I think I have 3 more diseases now because you had read WebMD and it sounded like you and whatever. So anyway, I'll get off my my stump on this, but I do think this is a really good thing. I mean, like, we'll see. It is your personal data. You have to trust Perplexity and what they're doing, connecting. So that's its own thing, and everybody will have to make up their own decision, obviously. But it's encouraging, I think.
Hey, good. Can I circle back to the Claude computer use announcement, which came out yesterday? And I read carefully through the Anthropic documentation on it because I wanted to understand, well, I can already, using Cowork, I can already have it do actions in the browser. And so what is computer use and how is that distinct and different? So I wanted to see if I could paint that picture for you. Up to this point, you've had to do something through the browser to have the agent, Cowork or Claude Code, do something on your computer other than, operate through terminal. Because Claude Code lives natively in the terminal, so it can work in terminal. And Cowork can take advantage of that already existing ability to work in terminal. But now suppose you have applications running on your desktop. I struggle to think of, I don't do that. Everything that I have is, let's say a browser-based application. I'm using the browser primarily, but there are examples like, for example, Slack is an application. Now everybody's building connectors already to Slack, so that it's not a big jump to have your computer use now, that capability, work in that application. But there are other applications on your desktop. For example, I have an application called Notes that I use all the time, and up to this point, Cowork and or Claude Code really couldn't look at what's in my Notes application. Well, now it can. So anything that you run, and by the way, there's this thing called Glaze, which is this new application development tool for vibe coding applications on the Mac desktop. So you can create your own application. Now, up to yesterday, that would have been invisible. If you created an application of your own that's running on the Mac desktop, all locally, not going through the browser, that would not have been visible to Claude Code or Cowork. They wouldn't be able to see what's on that screen, but now it can. So that's, I think, the important thing to understand is that this is opening up the agent to be able to work on almost anything that's running on your desktop, not just the browser. And by the way, the computer use feature is limited to view only in the browser. And that's for security reasons, I think. So you would have to, if you wanted to have Claude Cowork or Claude Code do something on the browser, you'd have to use the Chrome browser, and you have to use the Chrome extension, the Chrome MCP extension that makes that possible. So Anthropic's covered all the bases, but you have to just understand that there's a new little feature that's been added, which is now almost anything that you can run as an application on your desktop is accessible by that agent.
And I don't think people I think there's a lot of potential here because I don't think people even understand how powerful Claude agent teams are. That was something that came out a couple of weeks ago in Claude and what it can do. But if you read the documentation on what agentic teams can do, this is not just spinning up sub agents. This is like one order above that, which has existed. And now you start to layer that on what you just said, Andy. It starts to make me think of like how I can set up shortcuts on my iPhone, right? So Beth, this seems like in your wheelhouse. Like, oh, I'm going to tell Claude Code to go create, or Cowork or whatever, to go create these locally hosted apps that are essentially shortcuts. And they're essentially like skills, but they're like locally, I don't know, you would call that like a locally hosted agent, right? And now with computer use, you have to imagine it's written that app in a way that's going to be best used with the larger computer system. And now you really start to get into some fun stuff because like you said, Andy, things that were previously untouchable, now we can go maybe find, which gives me hope that maybe I won't have to go into, DaVinci Resolve daily to edit the show, because I can just set up a bunch of, agents that understand that process, and the clicks and everything else is very repetitive for the most part. I'm very rarely doing other things. It's like the same process daily. I'd love to not have to do that, Right. So it sounds like that's a step towards this, which is frankly pretty exciting.
Yeah. And what you're dealing with when you're doing those kinds of things, YouTube does have APIs, right? I don't know if you can upload it with the API or do those sorts of things, set them up in advance. Same with Spotify. I don't know if Spotify has to be loaded in the front end. Again, StreamYard, come, let's join the party. We're all here together.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay.
I have a question. Oh, go ahead. I was going to ask Brian a question about computer. Well, but maybe both of you guys. So I've created all these agents, like they're all set up. There's 7 of them. My executive leadership team, and I have my number one, who's my chief of staff. Can you give me some ideas on what I can, like maybe 3 ideas on what I can do with this agentic executive leadership team? Because I think that my limitation is my imagination. What can I do with them?
Andy might be able to answer it better than me. I have not read deeply into what is all involved with computer, but so it depends to me. The answer for me would be how ingrained can it be with those apps beyond the browser, like Andy was just saying, and how good would it even be if it did take control over that? Just because it can look into Slack doesn't mean it's going to do the right work in Slack,
right?
So I don't really know, but I think you're asking the right questions, which is usually where I start, which is like I'll ask Claude Code or whatever, hey, I'm starting a project here. What is the craziest, most out of the box thinking on this? That's usually where I'll start, because I'm like, yeah, I can come up with the 3 or 4 use cases that are standard, because my brain works that way.
Yeah, I'm trying to get beyond that, because again, I'm just so used to a certain, there's like seems to be like a little aura around me where it's hard to get to the next level without a specific use case to ask for, but I'm in the chicken or the egg. I want to know what I can do so I can feed my use cases in there. Any ideas, thoughts that the audience would also be interested in hearing? How we can use these themes?
Go ahead, Beth.
I'm going to say that for most people, that is a very advanced question. Because the idea of having agents who have different skills is that they can work as a team together without you, right? You give it a goal, you communicate the goal probably to your chief of staff, and then the chief of staff runs the night shift, right? They do the stuff overnight. I think for most people, having real consequential work be done overnight is without like your input is still a little freaky. I would say for you, you're not most people, but also you can do things like, hey, I've got this. I'm a SaaS owner now, right? Like I'm a tech bro. I know my narrow industry will use this. Go and identify and create a proposal for 3 other industries that would be interested in this information. So that's something that it's not like they're launching the marketing project, but they are potentially all collaborating together to give you something that they did overnight.
And the results, the promise of this is that it would be significantly better than if I just talked to Claude on it.
It means you'd be having, if the agents actually work together, you'd be having multiple different perspectives weigh in on whether this was an opportunity or just a possibility.
Awesome. Okay. So one thing I tried was I'm going to go to sleep now. Give yourself a time budget of 5 hours and see what you can do. That one didn't work. Other hacks, other ideas. I want to make them do something otherworldly after all this setup.
Yeah. So, and the idea of multifunction individual agents in a team that can communicate with each other is something I've never put into practice.
Okay.
I'm still at the level where, okay, my span of attention as the orchestrator of these things on my system is, okay, I generally have only 1 or 2 terminals open using Claude Code. I know I could launch another terminal and give it a separate project to work on. And so I can have multiple instances of Claude Code running. But I haven't defined Claude subagents. So my first question to you is, what did you actually use as the framework for this multi-agent team? Did you follow someone's script to build this and describe that for us so we understand what that is?
Let me just show you the org chart real quick. So
I get the concept. And by the way, Mark Zuckerberg, there's news out that he's building a personal AI agent to help him run Meta, right? So he's doing what you're doing. He's building a team.
I'll give you an example. So there's a woman named Maggie O'Connor who her business is training executive chiefs of staff. And so I gathered and it's very baller, like really, really good chief of staff. I've worked with chiefs of staff my whole life. So I poured that technical training for chief of staff in with everything that I need and know what I need from a chief of staff. And I made a skill from that for Sheila. And I gave her a backstory, and I don't know if that helps, but Sheila has dirt on me. I have dirt on Sheila. I know that all chiefs of staff. That's
helpful. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's called alignment. That's called alignment.
That's how we are aligned. Like we are, you can't mess with me because I can't mess with you. I know from my work that the chiefs of staff who are female actually run everything and everyone is afraid of them. So that's what I set up. Romy is her right hand. This is relationship management. This comes from my world, right? Cole, COO, like all of these people have their own very, very, very particular skill sets that I wrote using skills
Okay, stop,
building.
stop.
And then they all have,
What
I skills.
I have the concept of
Yes.
these different personas that you've created that are
Mhm.
independent agents. What built that? What is this Claude Code building an application? What are we looking at here? It's got a dashboard, it's got
Mhm.
operations. Describe what you built here.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me go back. So what I built was, here was my decision. A lot of people are building alternative leadership structures with their AI agents and their AI employees. I decided that I know how to executive leadership team. That's what I've been raised in. I'm just going to do it like that. So I use the template of my actual life. I made it up, Andy. I made up the structure.
That's the structure. I'm talking about the platform. What did you build it in?
Oh, Claude Code.
Okay, so you basically defined these, and Claude Code built these agents for you.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you. That's what I was.
Sorry.
I was missing that key
Sorry.
piece of information. Okay.
Are you just running it? We lost her.
Oh, we
wonder
lost.
if
She
hit
hit the wrong button.
Yeah, I think she hit the wrong button. We were just talking about that, how the buttons are perilously close. We'll see if she comes back.
I thought she got mad. You're like, Andy, that's enough questions.
Yeah.
Stop asking questions, Andy.
For anybody that's trying to following us along, Anne's coming back in now. We'll ask her if she did. Anne, did you hit the wrong button?
Yeah, I hit the red one.
Yeah.
It's red.
We were just talking about this on StreamYards. Along with their API, they need to fix where some of their buttons are, because one of them is a little too close. One of them in the upper right is too close to end the stream, which would kill the whole thing.
Yeah.
I did that one time. One time I killed a whole call for everybody, but the other one kicks you out as well. So sorry,
Andy, you were asking an uncomplicated question, and I was so thrilled to tell you about my agent life that I couldn't stop.
No, that was good. That was good.
Are you running that on a local host currently, or are you have gone like one farther to like Revolver or whatever it's called?
It's all here. It hasn't gone out. And it won't send things, it's like pretty locked in tight until I've probably got like maybe a month or two more experience with it, I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I was saying is, like, when you use that tool, that app that you built, right? Is it just a Chrome app, or is it like on localhost 3000? Did Claude Code spin up a local host for you and you're just using it there? Did you have to like input your API key, or is that burned into the backside of it?
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you could have hosted this, like you could have made this a URL, and then you personally could have gone to that URL on your own website. She Leads AI or whatever, and you could have gone into it that way, right?
Yeah. No, it's just set up on my own computer right now.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And you're using the browser to look at it.
Yeah, I'm using the browser to look at it. Exactly. And now, Karl, my next step is today and tomorrow we onboard the whole team into the whole world, and that's going to be really interesting. I should say, I know it's not a one-day project, but we launch it today. It's going to be messy.
So when you say onboard the team, are you talking about your human team?
Humans.
Yes.
The humans.
So how are you going to make it accessible to them?
So, okay, this is a great conversation because I'm quite sure there are better ways to do it. Oh boy, I'm about to say how I was going to do it. I'm going to feel really dumb probably.
No, there are no dumb approaches here.
Okay.
It's impressive. It's impressive that you're building something.
I'm a tech
You're a tech bro. You're a tech bro, Anne.
Leisure studies major makes good on college investment. So here's my plan was I have all of the skills and all of the blah, blah, blahs all cataloged, and I was going to export those and have Kate and Donnie and contractors upload those instructions for their people, for their agents. Is that the way to do it?
You're going to basically distribute the framework to those people and have them build their own on their own machines.
Having their own on their own machines. And my thought was that if I export them and leave them in Notion, that it's kind of a vault and they can pick and choose which skills and which people they want to put into their system.
Mm-hmm.
Karl, there's got probably a better way to do it, but I figure, I don't know.
I think the only thing that maybe I would think about is like just chucking it in as a plugin. But other than that, I think, and that's a very easy because you just say, "Hey, create for me a plugin," and then
Oh,
just add
really?
all these things in. Yeah,
See, plugin.
just
Good.
create.
So,
Yeah.
so in doing that, everyone has access to the same private program with that information in it. Everyone is not working simultaneously with
Oh,
the agents that are also having experiences, and that information is being tracked. That's
ooh.
not what's happening.
Currently, that is not what's happening. I want that to happen. It feels like that feels like it's going to create work for me. It's a mindset thing probably, but I feel like the agents are going to go, and now I got a little project on my hands. So I am not ready for that yet.
So essentially what you're offering is very pretty elaborate context that everyone in your company can install and have the same context together, which is great.
Context. Yeah. So the vault is currently in the process of being like each document is approved or waiting for approval or not approved. I learned this from the Greg Eisenberg. I literally was listening to it yesterday, that one of the Greg Eisenberg podcasts, they had a guy on there who's like obsessed with building vaults. And so I learned more about how to build a vault. So yeah, the skills will be in vault, the content will be in vault, the approved marketing language will be in vault, everything will be there.
Good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we can't
Screams
continue to
plugin.
screw up.
I agree with Karl.
Okay.
So
Plugin?
all of your human team
Yeah.
are going to have Claude code,
Yep.
and they're going to get a plugin for their Claude code that will deliver all of that context that you want to have as the unified
Oh,
knowledge base for the team,
okay.
along
Context.
with context and agents, right? So you've got all
everything.
these different sub agents that are
Okay.
So it's functions, but they have to write to someplace central if everybody's Sheila is going to know what everybody else's Sheila did. Right? The same way that if you want your Claude Code terminal session to have information that another Claude Code terminal session can use, either you're on your own computer and they can all read those log files, or you have to set up something so that information is being shared. And we set that up as GitHub, which then breaks many people's brains.
Yeah.
So
yes. Yeah, I guess I could set it up on GitHub. Should I do that instead?
So what you can do is, if you have a very, very specific process, like an output or task, right, involving all these skills, then run this, create a GitHub repo for this, push it there. And then what we've done with clients, even with non-technical ones, is like, hey, I'm going to install Claude in your whatever environment.
World,
I'm just going to clone that repo. And then literally they have everything that you have built in there. So that's how we've duplicated some processes, more complex one, but we've just cloned the repo. I pushed like once you've dialed it in, right? Everything's push everything to Git, to your repo, and then from there they can clone it, and then they have their, but just make sure if you have any APIs or keys or anything like that, just tell Claude Code, hey, I want to push everything except for my, API keys.
Smart. Okay.
Yeah, just so, they have to put their own. And any personal things that you've done there, remove that before you push the final version. Yeah.
And
thanks, everybody.
That's one of the things that the Compound Engineering plugin will search for, right? Is to run, because what you're talking about is you have these individual skills and functions, but they're part of an overall process that would get you from idea to program, or idea to event, idea to app. And so you've got all these pieces, and you're going to also want to define the process that happens, or YOLO overnight. Have a party, everybody. Tell me what you did. But parties cost tokens, so be aware.
I've never gotten a token bill, so I am YOLO right now. As soon as I get the first one, I'm sure I'll calm down.
All right. Somebody in private chat tells me that Karl has a computer use demo.
Oh, yeah.
Goody.
So what we can do is, I think what I'll do, okay, let me see if I can pop this. Wait a minute. Is computer use just for max plans? Isn't it for everybody?
Andy.
Pro and Max.
Pro and max. So everybody should,
Yeah.
anyone who's
Yeah,
paying.
anybody who has Pro has
So
you
not
all-
free.
Okay. Have you all tried it yet though?
No.
Oh, okay. I'll share my entire screen then. Just want to pop this. I'm just trying to think how I'm gonna do this. Oh, okay, hold on. Give me a second. I'm gonna share this side. That side. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna share that side. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, so there's nothing there. So the demo would be I have to move this over here so this pops, and then I close it over here. Okay, so
We're looking at trees still.
yeah, you're looking at trees. That's cool. Let me just, I'm gonna screen.
I feel like computer use is a magical moment that starts among the trees. You can start to see the fog.
Do you see my phone?
Nope, we're seeing black. Just a
Oh,
black
you're
screen.
seeing black. Darn it. Okay. Give me 1 second. I have to switch it again. I'll switch it to the other side because,
Yep.
because of StreamYard. Okay, so I'm going to share this side this time. All right. Got it?
Yep.
It's sharing us, but I'm just going to move it. Okay. I'm going to share it, move it over. Okay, so there we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this here. See my phone?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is, hey, I want you to open the Codex app, go to the automation section, run the North Star reconciliation. I'm telling it to open Codex, go into, and then run an automation that I've set there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've done this before, but it's the same demo I did for myself. So I'm going to, once this is happening, I'm actually going to close this now. I'm going to stop that mirror. And so
All right, so you're in co-work now.
yeah, so I'm going to go to dispatch. Okay, you know what's hilarious here in dispatch? It goes, already done. I'm like, okay, let's do something else. I'm going to quit. It already did it, and I quit it. It's okay.
Does dispatch essentially mean this is how you work on your mobile and desktop?
Yeah.
Okay.
What would be a fun? Okay, let's. You know what? I'm gonna be a little cheeky here. Do it again. Okay, so that's me on my phone. It pops up here. So I closed Codex. So Codex is done, right? There. Do you see that?
We see Claude is using your computer, yes.
Yeah, so it's doing that. Oh, I have to allow this. So you do have to approve. It has a bunch of approvals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I forgot. Sorry. There. It's doing that because I opened it on the other side now. Like, you don't want to be doing this on your computer. Like, it makes no sense. You are 10 times faster than it is very slow. So it goes there. And then They
But
found it.
but the beauty of it is that what we're seeing is a simulation of you being on your phone somewhere
Yes.
else,
Yes.
right? And that's
Yeah.
taking a lot of the bandwidth of what's happening here is just to even run that simulation. But I can see the efficiency of you kicking off an action that's going to run on your computer back home while you're on the road or at a client, and that's very cool.
Yeah. So, you can see it is done. So I think it ran it, kicked off again. Okay. So it kicked off again. There it is. And that's what essentially it's doing.
And so when you're using Claude in the Chrome plugin, the Chrome browser, you watch the cursor move. In this, it looks like you're not watching a cursor move over the screen. You're seeing the results of it.
So when I'm on my phone, obviously I can't see it, but like when I see it, it doesn't move. It just goes to the next place. It's just like, the very first time it looked at it, it took a long time. Then it's like, oh, right, I see it. Then the question is, are you sure you want me to run it? Yes. And then it did it. That was
so
it. Yeah.
That's interesting. I think when I have done stuff with computer use in the browser, there have always been multiple windows. So I could see it, I guess. And it was always taking like it's doing screenshots.
And that's what it is. I think it's just doing a bunch. So it is very inefficient. Like it is.
Yes.
That would be the most inefficient way to do anything on your desktop, is to do it. And like Garrett said, I did it only a couple times. I didn't get rate limited, but I'm sure if I did it more, I will get rate limited. Like it's not even a question. I will get rate limited. So this is, I find, a kind of a novelty. Like unless you're on the Supermax plan, but if you plan to do like heavy lifting on this, I wouldn't use computer use. I'd make sure to use like co-work or like that, not taking over your computer to do stuff. That is, I don't think it's quite ready to be right as humans. But it got me thinking, the limitation here is how our operating systems are built for humans. So if you built an operating system designed for agents, it'll be obviously 100 times faster. So that would be, I'm sure somebody's thinking about it. Hey, let's build an operating system for agents.
Well, but even that, like go into the code of the website, right? Like go turn DevTools on in your AI brain and do the thing that you can read is possible, because you're reading the code of the web page. I'm seeing the visual of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they would. I don't know how they would do that. Like maybe they'll do it that way, or
I think they haven't, right? Clearly, people who are bigger brains about this kind of stuff than I am have decided this is the play. But there, it is one of the questions that I ask when I'm doing things and trying to understand where, what am I seeing on the website? Where is the information coming from in the different pieces?
Yeah.
And Claude will give me a bunch of things, and I'm like, can you just tell me where it is, and tell me how to use DevTools to find the answer?
Well, right? I think there was somebody I was talking to mentioned that like one of the most efficient ways to do it is to turn your website into an MCP server, like just literally turn it into a server. It's like it goes beyond web MCP. It's like a website is now an MCP server that an agent can easily pass through, access, get out without having to do anything. And you set it. It's a very interesting concept to do that, because it makes sense. If most of the traffic is bot traffic, then like why wouldn't you start thinking about building websites that way? So
yeah, I was with a mutual friend, Rachel Zipsey, this weekend with Anne, and she's making a pretty good play for why everything should be built with Lovable, because Lovable handles all of the stuff, handles the money piece, handles the security piece, handles the authentication piece. And if agents are the ones coming anyway, your human part of the site just needs to be fairly simple, and then a bunch of the things that are more advanced could be done with agents.
Because we spend a lot of time on UI, right? UI UX design, which, mind you, like the thing is though, most websites, people still go to them to complete the transaction, like right. So you do have to have that last mile there. You can't just be like, oh, and I'm curious what the next levels of websites will look like. Like what would they? Because I don't know if I've seen anyone build for a hybrid approach.
We are right now. We are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the challenge and you know what we're trying to figure out is like, okay, so people come to us because of our branding. They land at our website and go, yeah, this is for me. Like the branding, the visual identity is very important to people, but also it doesn't help us with SEO, AEO. Like our website is, I mean, we've got stuff everywhere because I didn't know about H1 and H2 when I worked on it. I'm learning as I go. And so the on-screen SEO and AO is a hot mess, does nothing, literally. But what we're building out is like everything on the back end that the agents read, and we're kind of deprioritizing the front page because we have to decide which one we're going to work on first. And we didn't want to hire somebody to do it because we actually have the skill set to be able to do this ourselves, and we need to try because of who we are and what we do. But yeah, that's it. I mean, it's meant for the aesthetic moment that people look to see, are you real? It's not, and buying stuff too, but like, I don't rely on it to help me in any other way.
Yeah.
So we can eventually rebuild it. So the on-screen is also on page is also helpful, but we just have to take it step by step. I also thought about just starting over, and we did spend a couple of days on just starting over, but we can't make the UI look as good as our designer did. So.
And that's the thing though too, right? So it's like you kind of have to make those trade-offs, and like how much trade-off are you gonna make, and right. And then like if you use the front-end design skill of Claude, which is really good, like have you tried Stitch though? Like Google?
No, tell me.
So they had that new thing where it actually does a very good, like you gotta head there, describe, like it's mostly for design, like just describe what you want it to look like, your website to look like. You could put examples, or if not, it does a way better job of laying out the color scheme and everything. Then you apply everything to Claude, and then that kind of, from a design perspective, I think does a better job.
Stitch with Google.com?
Yeah, Stitch. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And is there is that function in Google like an agent or something that I could call from within a Claude session? Those start to be my questions.
No, not Stitch. I don't think so. You know what's really weird, by the way? MCP support in Google. Not like I don't see it as pronounced as in ChatGPT or Claude, and I have a feeling they just want you to hang out in the Google ecosystem.
That's probably what I think too.
I was like, you don't really connect with anything outside of Google. Like you really don't. Like it's not really there. I don't see it. It's very. But I just saw today that they released a new Figma MCP, the updated version. So there's that too. You can run through Figma what your design is. Right. Another thing. But Stitch you got to give Stitch a try.
I'm going to give it a try. Yeah. Couldn't I just point it to our current website and say remake this, but with like not nonsensical?
Yep.
AEO?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Try that.
And then it's hosted. How does it get hosted?
Oh no, Stitch is just pure design. It's not like
design. Okay,
Yeah.
so then it gives you the suggestions, then you integrate them, and then you just
Yeah.
update your website essentially. Okay,
yeah.
that's fun.
It's fun though. Like yeah, just how they laid it out is it's pretty neat how they did it.
All right.
Cool. All right. So I think we're at the top of the hour, everybody. I think we're slightly beyond the top of the hour. There we go. Thank you, everyone, for hanging with us. And we're going to wrap it up. We'll be back Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week. And go play with AI and build. Yeah.
Try
go
new
build
things.
something.
Have fun.
Thanks.